Hello and welcome to How Bad Can It Be, the series where we look at games so you don't have to. Today we're looking into a game that already has a history on both this channel and my Twitch account with the same name. So put on your favourite hockey mask and grab the nearest sharp object, because today we're cutting into the world of Friday the 13th the game. Friday the 13th the game was brought to us by Gun Media, responsible for Breach and Clear, and IllFonic, responsible for Sonic Boom. That Sonic Boom. It was released on the 26th of May 2017 after a very successful Kickstarter campaign. Friday the 13th the game, if you couldn't guess, is based on the cult horror movie franchise of the same name. Starting in 1980, the franchise has since grown to contain 12 movies, the most recent of which was the 2009 reboot of the series simply called Friday the 13th. There was another film that was rumoured to be either released or going into production this year, but it seems like that film has been sent to the realm of production hell, never to return. Or at least until they need more money. The game, on the other hand, didn't start with the Friday the 13th license. Instead, it was made to be a game inspired by the movies, but not directly related. When the people behind the Friday franchise saw the game, they got in touch, and the game became the Friday the 13th that we know today. The game itself doesn't actually have a story of note. The basic premise of each game is pretty much the standard slasher plotline. Jason, or well, some form of Jason, is hunting down camp counselors and killing them in a variety of gruesome ways for our viewing pleasure. There is, however, a secret plotline in the form of the rare Pamela tapes. I'm not going to go into what these tapes are about, and I say to anyone watching, don't spoil it in the comments. I know what it is, and I haven't found any, but others may want to slowly piece the story together. There really doesn't need to be any story in the game. The game's online only currently, and is based on an established, albeit wonky continuity in the form of the movies, so the basic scenario on repeat works just fine. Graphically, the game is no masterpiece, but it still is decent looking. Textures for the most part are fine, and the effort put into these maps to help them keep with the vibe of the movies is just fantastic. Everything from the crappy lighting rigs, the bright red doors, and even the obnoxiously yellow raincoats are put into the game to give the player the immersion of being in the movies. The characters themselves all look perfectly fine too, all very 80s character stereotypes in their own unique way. This also helps with the creating of the atmosphere of the movies, as let's face it, the movies aren't exactly known for their fantastic characters and Oscar-worthy acting. The love for the franchise shines through more than anywhere else in the iterations of Jason Voorhees. The recreations of Jason from movies 2 to 9 is spot on. Each Jason being a unique character, with each player having their own personal favourite. Mine's part 6 at the moment. When going through your selection of counsellors, there's an option to change their attire, giving the player the ability to style them to their own personal liking. There is a variety of choice in most of the characters, but for the most part, they're just colour swaps of the basic attire. You unlock the different clothes by levelling up. I know, right? A game in 2017 where there aren't any loot boxes? I'm as shocked as you. The different clothes don't really do anything for the player, other than changing the way they look. There is also DLC for the game, which allows you to buy the swimsuits for each of the characters. It's only a small price of about £2, so I'm not going to shit over it too much, but it's really clear that this was only made for Tiffany and Chad, with all the other characters just being an afterthought thrown together, because they couldn't release it for just 2 characters. I haven't got this DLC personally for 2 reasons. Okay, well, it's one reason, but the other's a joke, so I'm gonna talk about it a little later on when we get to the gameplay, so shut up. No, but seriously though, the main reason I haven't got this DLC yet is just because I don't want to. They haven't finished the game fully, which we will also talk about in a bit, and I just don't like the fact that they put the time into making a DLC when it could have been used to fixing all the issues with the game, you know? Maybe I'm alone there, maybe I'm not, I don't really care if I am. The animations in this game bounce between the lines of great and dreadful on a near constant basis. All of the kill animations are brutal and are just so good to watch. Before the game's release, it was all people were talking about, myself included, and it is the reason I was so hyped for the game. They actually got Jason actor from movies 7 to 10, Kane Hodder, to do the motion capture for Jason, so everything feels like it should do. Jason is a cold-blooded brute who just doesn't care and only wants to murder. Fun fact, by the way, I'm actually named after Kane Hodder. Some little trivia there for you. Where the animations fall down is the physics of them. The kills are often ruined by buggy animations and glitches, people flying off into the air, slingshotting away after it's done, sinking into the floor, it's just bad. This can also be seen in the pocket knife animation, where the pocket knife gets telekinetically thrown into Jason's neck after the stabbing animation is done. Finally, we have the music in the game. This music, when first playing the game, is great. It builds tension just fine, and the random increases in music freaking the player out as they think Jason is nearby. After 2 or 3 games though, it's just kinda there. It doesn't really build any tension, it's only really useful to locate when Jason is nearby. I do appreciate that each Jason has the unique soundtrack though. This spices it up a little bit when a player is approaching a Jason for the first time, but it dies off just as fast. Friday the 13th the game is an online-only game for 2 to 8 players. One of these lucky players will be selected by the murder gods to become a Jason of their desire, based off their choice before the game. You can pick out of the following Jasons as you level up. Part 2, aka Farmer Jason. Part 3, aka Jason Classique. NES Game Jason, aka Barney the Dinosaur. Part 4, aka I don't know, he's new and I haven't got him yet. Part 6, aka Spearboy. Part 7, aka Slowboy. Part 8, aka Melty Face. Part 9, aka Bubblegum Face. And there's the Kickstarter only Jason, referred to as Savini Jason or Hell Jason, due to his design by legendary effects artist who worked heavily on the Friday franchise, Tom Savini. So there you have your roster of murderous psychopaths who talk to the ghost of their dead mums, who actually also thought she was talking to the ghost of him? It's a weird relationship. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes. The remaining players are then chosen to be the counsellors of their choice, so I might as well introduce you to them too, and don't worry, I won't do the nickname thing this time. Adam Palomino, AJ Mason, Brandon Bugsy Wilson, Chad Kensington, Deborah Kim, Eric J.R. LaChapa, Jenny Myers, Kenny Rydell, Mitch Floyd, Tiffany Cox, Vanessa Jones, and Tommy Jarvis, but we'll get back to him. All of the Jasons and Counselors are created to be played in different ways, with the Jasons having certain abilities be greater than others depending on which one you choose. The same goes for Counselors. Chad, for example, is really lucky, meaning his weapons are less likely to break on impact with Jason's skull. He does, however, get scared super easily and is completely useless when it comes to repairing things. To help the Counselors in their battle against the supernatural killer, the player has the ability to roll perks which have a wide variety of effects. They also have different rarities, which yet again makes for a refreshing sight when you realise these buffs aren't locked away in loot boxes like most games seem to have these days. These perks are rolled using CP and provide a percentage buff based on the rarity, but also give a slight debuff to the player to stop them from being super OP. This CP can also be used on Jason, however, buying his certain set of kills, be it the ones exclusive to that Jason or the ones which are available to be shared. When playing the game, it's the goal of every Jason to kill people obviously, hunting down and slaying the teenagers using his variety of skills and tools. Each Jason is equipped with 5 core skills. Morph, which is Jason's equivalent to fast travel, going across the map at an instant. Sense, which is Jason's equivalent of Eagle Vision from the Assassin's Creed series, being able to sense where people are by highlighting them red. Shift, where Jason becomes like a ghost and then he sprints at you, and I don't really know how it works, but there we go. Stalk, where Jason can turn off his music so he can sneak up behind you and give you a little tickle. And Rage, where Jason just goes mental because he hasn't killed people by halfway through the game and he just breaks down all the doors. On top of this, each Jason obviously has his weapon of choice and also comes equipped with bear traps and throwing knives to spice up things a little. The Counselors on the other hand have to try to work together as a team to survive. Each Counselor has to start the game by searching houses for any equipment that they didn't spawn with due to their perks. Weapons, distractions, maps, radios are all available. Counselors may also come across parts for their objectives on the maps. Counselors have the ability to fix vehicles. To fix the vehicles, you need to find the required items. Be warned though, certain items actually replace your weapon, so you can't protect yourself if Jason finds you. This is where the teamwork comes into play. A player ideally should stick with other players to make their experience a lot easier. When these vehicles are fixed, you can start them up and escape with up to 3 friends, if Jason doesn't find you first, that is. There is also the possibility that a player will find a phone fuse. If the player finds said fuse, he/she can hunt down a building on the map with the broken fuse box. Fix the box with the new fuse, and you can use the phone inside to call the police to your location. It takes 5 minutes to do so, but when they arrive you can simply run to them for your safety and Jason can no longer get you. Finally, we have the building with the radio tower. This is the building where you can find and call upon Tommy Jarvis, Tommy Jarvis enters the map after a player has either been killed or escapes, and can be used to help other players escape, or even be used to kill Jason. That's right, you can kill Jason. Now, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of how it's done, because there's millions of videos on the internet that you can easily watch and do a lot better job than me, and this video is long enough as it is. New segment, why not? So I thought about adding this segment if there was a lot of things that I believe could be done better or differently to help improve the game. This can be things added, things taken out, or even things changed slightly, so let's jump on right in. First I want to talk about the man of the hour, Jason Voorhees himself. Now, I'm not one of those people who thinks that Jason shouldn't be overpowered like he is, because he should be. It's Jason Voorhees. I think there is slight changes to the way he works that I think should be made though. Okay, so point one is I think Jason's grab kill should have a recharge time. Now this is an interesting one that I personally thought of, simply because there's a few kills in the game where you can just grab them, spam the kill immediately without having to find the space to kill them, and you can just like punch their head off and something. You know, it's annoying, and it's used by tryhards mostly, where you'll be like, oh fuck it, you know, I just wanted to get this game over with because I want to get the XP and show people how good I am at the game, when the fact is it's just annoying and it kind of takes away the fun of the game for a lot of people, myself included. So you just grab them and then get like their heads punched off, you know, immediately. But if you have the cooldown time, obviously people would be more likely to find more adventurous ways to kill people, and it would just be a bit more fun, honestly. If you like pick someone up and then you're like, oh, I've done the head punch, let's body slam them, or like, oh, let's find a thing where I can just jam them on and like bash their head in, or like a door or something, you know. I reckon stalk ability should already be equipped and active. So this one might seem weird. Stalk ability, as I've explained, turns off the music of the game, but I reckon that should be immediate. Jason shouldn't have his music until he's been spotted, I reckon. So say for example, you're in a house. Imagine this, you're just chilling in a house, walking around, and Jason teleports by you. In the normal game, you'll have the bum 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 of the music, you know, and you freak out, being like, God damn, Jason's come to kill me. Right? But imagine this instead. You're in the house, you're looking around, and Jason teleports by you, but you don't know he's teleported by you because there's no musical cue. And then all of a sudden, he's broken down the door. You walk into the room where he's broken down the door. There's Jason in the doorway running at you. You're more likely to crap yourself and have like some actual horror in the game, you know? Because there should be horror in this game, but there's none. And I just think it would be a good idea just to have the stalk ability on automatically. It would just be much better. Have Jason be able to sneak up on people, because in the movies, you know, when you have like the movie sometimes, like it's jump scares, it's supposed to be jump scares, have the music pop on when you see Jason. It just makes sense. Jason should only be able to teleport out of a player's sight. So this one would be a bit more difficult to do, and I don't know how they would implement it, but Jason, as it stands, he can teleport, and then when he pops down, he can be right in front of someone, depending on where you click, and then you can just grab them and kill them straight away. I've seen it happen a few times in videos. I think I've done it once, I'm not entirely sure though, I can't remember. But really, it should be like an AoE thing, where there's like a little circle where you teleport around where your mouse is, and it like picks up what it's like, oh, there's someone over there, so we'll teleport him over here. So he's slightly further away, so he has to like work out his plan of attack, etc. instead of just spawning in and being on top of someone and bloody crush their head or something. Jason should be able to use the bodies to scare people. So in the movies, I don't know if you've seen this in like the horror movies and stuff, where it's like the final girl and they're running around and then it's like, oh my god, there's a dead body here, and oh my god, there's a dead body here. I think that should be a part of the game. So fear is actually a big factor of the gameplay, which I didn't mention. Fear is sort of like, you're sitting there and then you can get scared. Like Chad gets scared really easy if he's in the dark too long, etc. If he sees a dead body, if he sees Jason. Jason should be able to kill someone and then like drag their body and then use a spear throwing knife to pin him to a door or a wall. So when someone walks in, like they're not immediately scared, but then like, you know, it freaks them out because they're like pinned to a damn door. You know, I think that would just be great. Just being able to like set up these elaborate sort of like body mazes, and you know, it can make for like funny moments, etc. as well. I just think it would be cool. Just have Jason, like you see Jason walking by with your dead friend, you know? It would be awesome. Also, the final one I want to say is make Part 7 faster, because Part 7 is objectively the worst Jason in the game. No one plays as him, no one wants to play as him. Make him slightly faster, the problems would probably go away. He fucking sucks. I also want penalties for leaving matchmaking. This should just be a given. There's a major issue in the game of, oh, I'm not Jason, I'm just gonna leave then. It kind of ruins the game. Add a penalty for leaving, either a timed ban or just to take away XP from them as an incentive to stay. Filter for server searching. This would require them to actually fix the servers, which I don't think will ever happen. The game is supposed to be a team-based game, but it's no secret that not everyone has a group of friends that will play the game. Take myself for example. None of my friends play the game. Some of my Steam friends do, but I mean actual, oh, let's have a chat friends. Now this can be partially blamed on the user, but at the same time, if the game worked at launch, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. What we have now in the game is more hardcore fans, meaning a smaller player base. In this, there is a wide variety of people from different countries, which is fine and all, but it creates an issue when you enter a game as a counsellor with 6 other people and none of them speak a word of English, or worse, don't speak at all. Do you see the problem here? The game's based around teamwork, and I don't think every player has the time or patience to learn every single language there is. Now, I don't expect this one to change, as it would only hurt the wait times for matches, but it's something that should be at least be considered, you know? At least consider it in some sense. First person mode. Now, I know this may sound weird, and put your pitchforks down, right? Keep that to Savini, Jason, right, okay. But it would make sense if they implemented some of the elements I mentioned with Jason. I just think that a first person mode or a first person beta would make for an awesome change to the game and would attract a lot of people. It would make things such as the stealth more frightening and the ability to not see where Jason's coming from. It would add some of the horror to the game, which is seriously lacking. Finally, I just have the vague ask to continue with fixing glitches before everything else in the game. The devs are working on things, which is great, but when your game has more bugs than a nature documentary talking about ants, you should put aside everything. No DLC, no new Jasons, no new maps, no new game modes. 100% effort on ironing out any issues now to make a stable foundation for these new things in the future. Friday the 13th is a perfect example of wanting to love something so much but knowing it can't be done. This game in theory should be right up my alley, and I've played a decent amount of it. It should have been one of my favourite games to play, and for a little while it actually was, but the honeymoon period wore off quite fast, and I got to see the monster behind the mask. Now, with the newer updates, my interest wears off fairly quickly, and the newest update actually failed to drag me back in any way whatsoever. I guess that leaves me with one question though. Friday the 13th the game. How bad can it be? It actually pains me to say this, but I have no choice. Friday the 13th the game gets a 4 out of 10. Thank you all for watching this How Bad Can It Be video on Friday the 13th the game. I had a blast making it and look forward to getting these reviews back on a regular basis. Next time I'm taking a look at another game I have my concerns about in the form of WWE 2K18. Will I be lifting 2K's arm in victory at last, or will I be slamming this year's installment to the mat and keeping it down for the free count? Tune in to find out. As always, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, bloody like the video, mate. Subscribe and keep up to date with all future videos. Check out my playthrough of Friday the 13th on my channel by using the eye up there, or click one of the video screens right now to take you to another video that you might enjoy. I've been Vivid Shim, and I'll see you all soon.